Hey, this is Eric from Catching Light.
Hey, this is Hemp.
Hey, this is Glenn.
Hi, I'm Steve-O.
Hey, this is Drew Hines with Hindsight Imagery.
This is Matt Callahan at Digimatty Photographic Services.
Hey, this is Jason, and welcome to Tales from the Pit. Hello and welcome to Tales from the Pit, the behind-the-lens access to the entertainment industry and the creative people involved. Today we have guitarist, photographer Joe Hottinger from Halestorm. Joe, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We'd like to start off with sort of a little bit of history or sort of bird's eye view of your journey so far. Can you give us a little bit of background about what happened, what your influences were, and how you got to where you are?
Sure. Man, it's been a hell of a journey. How about it? I won't go. All right. I'll start at the beginning and I won't spend much time there. You know, I started playing guitar. I was like 12 or 13. I grew up in Wisconsin, a little town called Hartford. And, what was the station there? 102.1. You know, I heard Nirvana on the station. This was like mid 90s. And Kurt was already dead, but I didn't like Nirvana for a few years because my brother liked them, you know, so I couldn't get into that sort of music because we were competitive about everything. And but I fell for it, and I don't know what it is with guitar players. I'm positive it's the same for, you know, photographers, but I had to play guitar about it. You know, some things you don't have a choice on in life, and for musicians, I know it's all of a sudden you're just playing that instrument that you just meant to play. And I had to learn how to play these songs, and I still don't know why I love it so much, and I can't get enough of it. But yeah, I started playing guitar and I didn't stop. I went through high school. I had a band in college, and I dropped out and moved back up to Philly because I went to high school outside of Philly and moved back up there after I quit college. That's when I met Lizzie. I answered an ad in the paper, which that was a good one to answer, I guess. And, you know, they gave me the wrong directions to the auditions. It was a shit show. And I figured it out. You know, I stopped in the gas station. I was like, I'm trying to get here. None of these directions make sense. And I made it. And apparently I was like one of the only guys that sent in like an honest, like bio, like, no, I'm 21 years old. And I guess here's a recent picture, and I really like the Beatles and Radiohead and Jeff Buckley. Like that's what I'm into. And everyone else was like 40 years old, 50 years old, and they sent in pictures from their 20s, and they're like, okay.
It's a dating site.
Yeah, it's weird. And turns out it was. No, but you know, she called me back, and we played it. Well, before that, I went in there and we played, and I was like, oh, that chick's got a cool voice. Neat. And she does have a cool voice, it turns out. And her little brother, you know, RJ is bouncing around. He's a drummer. He was like 15 at the time or something, just like bouncing off the walls. It was hilarious. And I was like, who is this little kid just going nuts? You know? And it was awesome. And they invited me out to their house out in central Pennsylvania to rehearse. Like, hey, we got a show coming up in Shamokin, PA. It's a coal town. And they had some little outdoor festival thing. That was ended up being the first show I played with them, and it was fun. You know, like I wasn't like I'd kind of gotten out of the hard rock thing, and I sold my what did I have? I had like a Les Paul and some sort of overdrive amp, and I sold them and got like this. I was trying to get like a Jeff Buckley rig, you know, a Telecaster. Yeah. And I didn't get a Fender Tremo Verb, but I got like a Mesa Tremo Verb type thing. It was kind of close. And, so I had this it wasn't the right rig for the gig, but I could make it rock. And whatever, we got along really well. And, you know, and Lizzie was the first person I ever met that kind of had the same ideas I had, which was really just like, you know, we can do this, you know, we can make a living doing this. I don't know how it's going to work out, but we can do it. You know, we can play music. I know we can. And she had already been doing it a few years at that point in Halestorm, which I had never heard of Halestorm before that. And they were kind of a regional band, but not part of the region that I was a part of. So we just had never crossed paths. And, but you know, we started doing it. And between her and her family, who was her mom and dad were like running their show, and they were, you know, RJ was 15 years old. They'd recently got kicked. They weren't allowed to play any bars in Pennsylvania. The liquor control board shut them down. So we'd play anywhere. I mean, I remember playing a funeral with her, just acoustic. Somebody was like, we want these 2 songs. It was this guy's favorite songs. We didn't know them, but they gave us like $50 a song. We're like, hell yeah, we made $100 today. This is awesome. And we were just playing anywhere and everywhere. And I found this list recently of like every bar in like a 50-mile radius. And we called every single one of them. And we're like, we can play acoustic, because her and I would go play the bars because we were 21. And then on the weekends, we'd go out of state and play other places full band where we were allowed to until RJ turns 21, you know? And we just did that. I mean, we were working like 4 or 5 nights a week within a few months because we just didn't want day jobs, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, you play like 4-hour acoustic sets a night for $75 and you're like, this is great. We're making a living.
You're rock stars at that age.
Yeah,
for sure.
Great. We were playing all over the place. And that was like 2003 I joined them, and we got our record deal in June 2005. We, you know, all through meeting Don Hill in New York City at Don Hill's, his club. Rest in peace, Don. He was awesome. He was just like, you guys were great. You got to meet my lawyer. He'll help you out. And I'm like, all right. You know, we're always down to meet anybody that we thought could, what was our plan was just to keep doing it. I think it was like, what is making it? I don't know. I think making it is just doing it for a living, and then you're doing it. But,
when you met the record label stuff, did you already have like an album written out and stuff, or is it?
We had a ton of original songs, but I mean, we were always a live band first. You know, we wrote songs and they were good, and definitely good songs. And Lizzie, especially, is just, as we all now know, that girl can write a song, and we all can really like. But our forte was making these moments on stage, and we were good at that. Like just these moments that just, you know, make you the hair stand up on your arms and just make you move, you know. Like I figured out what moments are when I heard that Jeff Buckley record, Grace, and you know, you hear that song, and in the end when he's like screaming in his falsetto and the flange comes over the whole thing and just like turns you inside out, and you're like, oh my God, there's power in sound. It's amazing. Yep. That was always the goal, you know, like so like every song had these moments in them, you know, where like, we got to do something that's crazy. And lucky for us, you know, Lizzie Hale was the singer, and she does things with her voice that nobody on earth can do. She's one of a kind, you know? And so we would just be in the bars, just like tearing these, you know, just making this huge noise and this tension and release. And it was fun. It was awesome. And what we're still trying to do is just make moments. It's all we've ever tried to do. And we're playing a different game now. And now it's like, all right, let's have some, you know, more songs. We get on radio and hit '1 and get on to, you know, it's a bit of a different game, but it's still the same idea, is to make these moments. Yep.
Yeah. You know, I've seen you guys several times. You know, you've played our venue probably many times. I know I saw you in 2019, and you know, being the photographer and being literally right there in front of you guys, the energy just coming off of you. I mean, all together, all 4 of you together, there's just a combo of perfect energy coming off of you guys, both physically, you know, sonically, and, you know, visually. It's really, really a, you know, stunning performance by all of you. And it's a very memorable, you know, I'm sitting there taking your guys' photos and I'm like, man, I don't think I felt this energy off of another band like this before. It's unique and it's all on its own.
Well, thanks, man. That's a lot, actually. And I mean, that's the idea. And we do something it's not different. We do it we just do it old school, but it's different these days. And it's one of our superpowers. And it doesn't, whatever, you know, there's always arguments over using tracks or not.
Yeah, whatever
stuff. And I don't care, run your business how you want to run it. Do your shows how you want to do it. But we really enjoy just plugging in and playing. And what it does and what I love about it is it creates a human energy, not this, like we don't even have a click track going. It's just, start the song and ride the wave, Yep. And I'm sitting here like crouching as the microphone points. But I think it creates something kind of special, really, because not many bands are doing it these days. And I think that, like, especially at like a festival, right? Like every band is on and it sounds like a movie trailer, it's like, and all these things are going on, and it's impressive, they use the whole sound system and it sounds huge. And then we go on and we're just a band, but we can ebb and flow with the crowd. And if the energy is up and things, it's happening and we're all connected together with everybody that's out there, then to me, that's the power that, it's the connection with every single person and the crowd as a whole and us. And the choruses slow down or speed up and things ebb and flow like humans instead of robots. And I think it stands out especially at festivals with a bunch of different bands on there. And that's what I like about it. And then we improvise a lot. Like we are not scared to just jam a song out and just try, every day, everything is different every day. So you start playing, especially on guitar. It's all right. Time to do a lead. Here we go. I don't know where it's going to go and I don't know where it's going to end, and we're going to get there together and figure it out. And that's the fun stuff for me,
Yeah, you guys definitely have a vibe. I mean, the great thing of, being from a band that, we have to do click tracks for certain things, not being tied to that, just the freedom of just flowing. Because I've, like I said, seen you guys many times. You've played the same songs multiple ways from different shows and stuff like that. And it's like, this is awesome. It's really every experience is unique.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of people come to multiple shows in a row, and it's like, that's the least we can do is switch up the set list every night and make it unique every time. And it depends on the tour too. This last one with Evanescence, we've been kind of keeping a similar, we switch it up a little bit, but we keep a similar thing because we're playing for a lot of their fans and we have an hour. So we're like, let's just hit it hard and get out of there.
Yeah.
No mark.
So I follow your Instagram stuff where you have a lot of photos and stuff like that. I want to get to the photos in just a second. One of the things that I like that you do or used to do, I don't know if you still plan on doing it, maybe you do it occasionally depending on your availability, but you would give a story behind some classic photos you had taken or something about that in the history of the band.
Should do that more.
Yeah, I mean, I love your stories about your what is it, the van, not the van or
Norman, the RV.
Yeah, the RV, yeah.
He's trouble.
Yeah. So, well, before we talk about the photo part of it, what was that first major tour for you guys? What was that situation? What was the headlining band, all that stuff?
So we got signed in 2005, and then like at that same time, like during that whole process of meeting label folks, it was like a 6-7 month long thing. You get Monday to Friday. They're like, are we going to get the record deal? I don't know. Like maybe on Monday, maybe on Friday, maybe on Monday, maybe on Friday. And to the point where we're just like, I don't know, whatever, man. We played for them like 20 times, and throughout the process met our manager, Bill, our booking agent, Scott at Pinnacle, and they're still our same guys. How many years, when was that? 2004, 2005. So 15, 16 years later, it's still pretty much the same team that we have around us. And so the first thing that we did after we got signed, we made a live EP because our A&R guy, he was like, hey man, you guys are kind of a live band. Let's just record a show one of these nights. And we went to the Grape Street in Philly, one of our local clubs that we would play a lot, and had a bunch of our friends and fans out and packed it out, and we did a show and filmed it and everything. I'm sure that still exists somewhere, but made it into a little EP. And I remember, the first show, we signed the deal, and like that next weekend, our agent hooked us up with a show. We had 2 shows. We got an RV, with the thing. We were like, hey, instead of getting a van, can we get an old RV and we'll fix it up and put beds in it and stuff. And we did, and we went out to the Machine Shop in Flint, Michigan. It was like our first show as a signed band, and we opened up for Seether and Dark New Day. And then, so this was like June, maybe the beginning of July, 05, beginning of July. And then we went to Summerfest in Milwaukee and opened up for Shinedown. And we didn't know any of these guys before, but we just did our thing, and they were all so sweet, like the nicest folks. I remember at the Summerfest one with Shinedown, we finished our set. We had like an hour long set or something, and the crowd was chanting for one more song. And they were awesome. Like Jason, he was in the band at the time, and Brent, they were side stage, and they're like, go on, play another one. We're like, all right, yeah, they're asking. Well, that's what you do if they ask for another song. So we played I think we played like Black Dog or something by Zeppelin, and left. And we're like, great show. And ended up doing little one-offs here and there with both of those bands until they invited us out in January. It was the Snowcore tour, January 06. It was like 30 dates or something, starting in Texas and going all over the country. And we were the first band. We didn't have anything on radio. Nothing was being pushed. Nobody knew us anywhere, but they wanted us to come out because they liked us, which was really sweet of them. Yep. And that's what we did. We went on tour, and it was awesome. It was we had like a 25-minute set, first band on, and we hustled, every song had a moment in it. We had a little drum solo with a drum circle thing. We'd beat on drums, and it's like the currency is woo. If the crowd goes woo, then we're doing it right. And I remember, man, we got a bunch of those live EPs, right, from the label, and they wouldn't put Atlantic Records on it. They didn't take any ownership, and we were selling like 300 to 500 of those a night, just hustling. Like we go right out to the merch table. I remember we played Iowa and set a record for single night sales of a CD. And all of a sudden the CDs started showing up because we'd order more like nearly every day. And they started showing up with a barcode and the Atlantic info on the back. We're like, oh, now they're ready to take ownership of this. And it was great. We hustled like 20,000 CDs in a few months, and nobody knew us. And it was great. That's what we did. We hustled. It was fun.
That's awesome. How long was that tour? Do you remember?
Probably 2 months.
2 months. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Even. And then we did another one a few months after that with Shinedown and Trapped, and I forget, Equinox it was called, and similar idea. And that one had a break in the middle of about 2 weeks. And I remember driving from, I think, Albuquerque to trying to get to Pennsylvania to get back home. And I blew up the engine on Storm and Norman. I think I probably put some of the stories up on that. That one in Bucksnort, Tennessee. Yeah, just blew it up on the side of the road. And I remember the tow truck driver took us to this abandoned gas station at the next exit, and it was Memorial Day weekend. So he was like, "Well, I got things to do, but I can take you to Nashville, in a few days, and then you can go to get your engine fixed." And we're like, "Okay." He's like, "By the way, we found a dead hooker here last week. See you guys later." We're like, "What?" There was like an adult bookstore, the abandoned gas station, a diner across the overpass, and I'm like, all right, here we are.
Captive, yes. Nice. That's how those scary movies start.
Oh yeah, no, it was
yeah. When your album came out, the first album, was there instant? I mean, I was aware of you guys right away. You guys had tons of radio play, but did you guys see instant like notoriety or anything like that? Was it pretty obvious?
No, man, no, it wasn't. We were just doing what we were doing, and we were getting tours and stuff. But I remember the first single was "I Get Off," and
right.
We heard it. First time we heard it on the radio was driving through Minneapolis on the way to a show, I think down in Rochester, Minnesota. But it went well. It didn't go to number one or anything, but it did well, and it stuck around for a bit. And I remember our Leah Pisacani, the legendary Leah, who just retired this year. So sad, but she was the head of rock radio at Atlantic, and she called us, and she's like, "Listen, motherfucker!" She's like one of the best humans ever. She's like, "You fuckers, you don't know how lucky you are. This never happens. You don't get in the top 10 of your first single. You're lucky motherfuckers. Just know that." And we're like, okay, I don't know. We hadn't ever played this game before, and we were just having fun. We'd play our 25-minute set on these tours and go hang out at the merch booth and sign things and just hang out and do that all night and drive the next show.
Jeez, it must have been like, and you guys, the way I understand it, you guys are really a hard touring band. I mean, you hit the road hundreds of days per year.
Yeah.
And, year to year to year, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously not recently, but,
right.
But yeah, no, that's just what we do. And
right.
It's what we like to do. It's my favorite. It's my drug of choice. It's live show. There's no high like it, just the energy, the crowd, the improv, and just you find yourself every night and you come off stage and there's just like, it takes a long time to come down off that, it just feels great. And it's my favorite thing. And we just love to do it. And we've been lucky. We get to do it around the world now and it's killer. Like, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, really. The, moving forward, you guys have put out a lot of albums that are killer. You've been nominated, or did you win the Grammy? Or
yeah, we won one in the 2012 year, or 2013, beginning of 2013, yep. And we got nominated again on the last record, Vicious.
Yep,
Comfortable, and that's a trip. It's a trip. I remember we found out about the nomination. We were playing in Madison, Wisconsin. Playing at I forget the theater, but or we usually have a part in the show where Lizzie plays piano and sings some of her piano songs, and she's sitting there talking. We got off stage and she's sitting there talking to the crowd by the piano, getting ready to play something. And my guitar tech Justin was like, "Hey, dude, you just got nominated for a Grammy." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "No way!" And like grabbed my phone and Googled it because I didn't believe him. I thought he was fucking with me, and he wasn't. And we're like, "Oh my god!" And Lizzie hadn't started the song yet, so I ran out there and told her. And there's this amazing picture this girl Ariel took. She was in the crowd, and I like ran out and whispered it in Lizzie's ear, and this girl caught it like at the second Lizzie kind of registered what I was saying, and it's such a great shot. It's like it's one of my favorite pictures I've ever seen of us because she's got this face of just like looking off to the side. She's like, oh my god, like shock, but like holy fuck, but like no way. It's just awesome. And then she was just like, all right, we just found out we got nominated for a Grammy, and told the crowd, and like the whole place went nuts. It was like we scored a touchdown. it was awesome. It's one of the great memories we have of our journey.
I mean, I can only imagine, but to work so hard and to get an achievement like that, I mean, it must be really, I assume, gratifying to see the work pay off and stuff like that. But I'm sure you're just enjoying the ride in general anyways. Yeah, no, it was just, we went to the Grammys, then we're like, oh, well, we're not going to win, but we'll go to the parties and that'll be fun. Let's just have a good time with that. And we did. We had a great time at the parties. And then we actually won one, which was hilarious. And we were just on cloud nine. I remember my dad called me. We're like, you win one, they give you like a fake trophy, and then you got to go walk into like this press, a whole room of press, and everyone there is like, who the hell are these guys? We're like, hey, and we were just ecstatic, And then you get walked in, and I think it was Danny Clinch was the photographer back there, which was really, he's a legend, Yep.
And doing all the pictures for the Grammys, and we went back there and just goofs, we're just like, oh my god. I remember my dad called me on the way in to get the picture, and he was like crying. He's like, I saw it on TV, he was like, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, oh, so go, stop it, like you're tearing me up. I gotta take a picture. I gotta go. You gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go take a picture, and I can't be in that state.
God.
Cool. It's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's incredible. And obviously, congratulate. I think you guys, you're one of the best rock bands there is right now. So I think it's well deserved. So just moving forward, I mean, there's a lot of music stuff you guys have done, but in 2019 is the last time I got to see you guys with Alice Cooper, and then 2020 hit. What was that? What happened? What was your impact for that? What happened to you guys?
We were lucky because we finished the Vicious album cycle December 2019. Finished in Australia. Melbourne was the last show, and so we knew we were going to be off for at least a few months. I think we had a few festival thing. I think it was like 15 shows in 2020 we had lined up, all festival, like just big one-off things,
Yeah.
which is really exciting. There are some really killer ones that just never happened in London. We're going to play the Milton Keynes Bowl and direct support. Like there's some really cool shit. but we were just in the basement. We started in February, then right down here in Lizzie and my basement, just hashing out all the song ideas we'd put together over the last few years and whatever new ones. And we started working, like, all right, it's time to get some stuff ready. We had no definite plans for getting in the studio or anything, but I'm like, let's just get a bunch of demos together. And then like a tornado hit Nashville and just messed it up. And so we were like, I don't know, we had this like tornado benefit thing on March 14th or 16th or something. And I remember I had just gotten a printer in January, my first like large format Canon Image Prograph 2000 printer, because I wanted to see what my pictures look like. I had no plans. I just wanted to see what they look like. And so I like printed out some pictures I had taken, and Lizzie and I signed them. We're going to donate them, raise some money. And we were working on a song with a bunch of killer rock guys in town to raise some money for people that were affected. And then like, I remember that week before March 14th, it was like the news just kept getting weirder and weirder. And like, we kind of decided, we're like, hey, maybe we should stop rehearsing down here for a second and see how this, people are getting really sick apparently.
Right.
And this seems like it's from being around other people or something. I don't know. We didn't know anything yet. Remember that feeling? It was just like chaos, and then we pulled out of the benefit thing. We're like, hey, we don't want to go stand in front of, hundreds of people right now and play, because that seems like a really bad idea. And if a bunch of people get that thing, and it's because we showed up there to do something, we don't, I don't know what the responsibility is. Like, well, I don't want that weighing on my shoulder, and let's just postpone it a sec and we can still do it. Let's do it in a month or two,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that didn't happen. And next thing you know, we've been home for like months and just like, Lizzie and I live together. So we spent the time, we were just writing. I was down here every day. She has a little studio upstairs. She was down here. I was up there. We were just writing every single day. That was kind of the goal. I mean, the first week of that pandemic thing was like, we're not going anywhere, and we have no responsibility and there's no interviews or anything. This is great, and this brewery delivers beer to our door. Yeah. And then it's like, all right, we got to get something done. And all of a sudden it's like 9 months later and we got a bunch of songs, and we haven't seen anybody. And I think we didn't see the boys in the band for like 6 months. We FaceTime and like have a cheers over FaceTime or something, but we're just trying to be good and not mess with this. Cause imagine Lizzie gets intubated and she can never sing again, like that's always like, let's try not to get it maybe. And it'd be fun to not give a shit, man. It'd be awesome to go to bars and not care, but also maybe that's a horrible idea. I don't know. Well, it gave us time to really like focus on songs and get an amazing groundwork for the new album together. And that's what we did.
And so some of the artists I've talked to in the past, when this whole thing started, it was a kind of an emotional shock to them from not being able to, because some people just live on the road, probably like you guys, I assume, and just being forced to not do the thing you love. Was there an impact there?
Fucked. Yeah. Like, I remember by like October, like Lizzie and I were just like, do I even like music anymore? Like we literally had that discussion. Like, do we want to, like, what is the point? Like of all, like we'd written all these songs and we loved them, but I don't know what are you going to do with them? They were just sitting there, and I don't know. We went down a weird spiral, a little downward spiral of like, fuck this shit. And like, I don't know, just trying to think of your life. And it's probably just a big, come down from not having that feeling, that high anymore. We went cold turkey, and playing in front of your iPhone or a camera or, in the basement is not the same. And it's just not, you don't get the interaction, the thing that gets your juices flowing in your brain, and it was like a pretty weird downward spiral. And by the end of the year, we were in the studio with Nick Raskulinix, and we're back together with the boys, and that was nice. It was good to get, when we started playing again, the four of us, and like, okay, oh yeah, that's what it's like. There's you start to get a touch of that feeling. It ain't the real thing, but it's close.
Yeah. Again, being in a band and not being able to do your passion for a long period of time is like, yeah, it's hard to swallow. And then once you pick it back up, you're like, oh, there it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The new album. So I don't know how much you can say or can't say or whatever, but is it done?
It's done. We got the masters back like less than a week ago, a few days ago, and
nice.
mixed, mastered. It's in its sequential order, and we did the cover shoot already for the album art, and it's done. And like we've been so in it. Like the tour we were just on with Evanescence got shut down early because they got some COVID in their camp, and
right,
that was it. And got home a week earlier than we thought we were going to, a week and a half, and which turned out to be good because we had a deadline for turning the masters in order to get it to. We're trying to release the record and the vinyl at the same time, and there's such a backlog on getting vinyl made that like we had to be in at a certain time to get it up at this other time. And we still missed it by a few days, but it was just the mix process, and we literally were sitting by the computer every day. Here comes the new mix. Listen really intently, listen again, do some comments with our producer, Nick and Scott. And here comes another one. Here comes another version. And then, just all day listening. And then, all right, we got the mix. Now sent to mastering, and Ted Jensen did it, and he's brilliant. And he did it quick. He was like pre-setting up all the sessions and got them all in, and we had to make a few adjustments there, and finally happened like a few days ago. We're like, oh my God. And it sounds so good. I mean, it was a lot of work if it was easy, everyone would do it, but it like, even if you don't like the music of the songs, like sonically it is a treat. It's just outstanding. We're like, whoa, man, we had the best of the best on everybody working on it, and it's a treat. That's awesome. The writing process, has that changed because of COVID, or was it your typical writing process? There's never been a typical record. There just hasn't. Like last record we did, like Lizzie is our main. Lizzie's singing this stuff. She writes the lyrics. She usually writes melodies and stuff, and she's the gal. She's the one saying it. It should be her. And like last record, it was the four of us in the room together. We just hashed out songs, which was kind of new for us because a lot of times, like the first record, the way our A&R works and how, he was like, Lizzie, go write with these people. This is how I do my thing. We gather songs and we make a record, and we already had hundreds of songs, but he wanted to try something different. And we're like, yeah, we'll do your I don't care. It doesn't, to me, it's how you own it. And, like, song's a song, not everyone can be the Beatles, and that's okay. Which that Get Back, all right, dovetail, never mind. We're not going to talk about the Get Back documentary. It's so good.
Yes, indeed.
But, like this time we wrote so many songs, and then we weren't going to write with other people. She wasn't going to, and she ended up writing with our old buddy, Scott Stevens, we were out in LA on a whim, went over to Scott's. And the first song they wrote was Back from the Dead, which is their first single we've had out. And she came back. She's like, I know we weren't going to do something, but check this out. And we were like, oh my God, that's so good. Like, fuck yeah. And she just kept writing with them, and which was great. I mean, we were writing there. We had a bunch of songs, and to me, I don't care where it comes from. Like, let's put a record out with good songs. And that's how we choose to run our business, is great songs first. And so yeah, it was a little different this time. She wrote a bunch with Scott, and it's killer. It's just killer. Like, it was,
can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait either. I think this is like the first record, Liz and I were talking, the first record where, like, I don't know why. It's not like the other records were like, I don't, but you never know. You're always like, I hope people like this. I don't know. It seems like everyone has been a bit of like an experiment. And this one is too, in its own way, but it feels deadly. It feels like I think our fans are going to geek on this because like we're geeking on it, and we always kind of had the thing. If we're excited about it, then I think our people that like us will be excited about it too. At least I hope. And we're really, really excited. Like it's exciting. It's awesome.
Have you guys announced a release date or anything like that, or any cycle or anything? Nothing. Okay.
No, we haven't put anything out there. It's still, I've done that in the past. Like, yeah, it should be out in March, and always like a few months later because things happen and things change out of our control and whatever. So no point talking about that yet because if I said something, I would be lying.
Right. Hey, thanks for watching part 1 of our interview with Joe Hottinger of Halestorm. We hope you enjoyed it. You can check our other guests and our other episodes on our YouTube page and on all your favorite podcasts. Just search for Tales from the Pit Photo. And also at our website, talesfromthepit.net. We'll see you next time.